So the only cool part about
Morning,
it,
Chris.
Morning.
is freezing fog, crystals like
We're getting the public meeting
Just-
set up
just
and
kind of cool.
broadcasting to the
yeah,
YouTube channel.
Can't see.
Just a second, we'll get that started.
Morning.
All right. We are good to go, and I'll pull up Aaron's.
Is this the group?
This is the group.
Okay.
Yeah, and should I go ahead and just kind of call the meeting to order, Chris?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to call the Salem Public Art Commission meeting, subcommittee meeting of these to discuss the Civic Center art project on, today's Thursday, January 22nd. It's 10 o'clock. And I don't know if we need to kind of introduce everyone. Maybe it's a good idea just so that people watching know who the players are here. So I'm Susan Apak. I'm the chair of the Salem Public Art Commission, and I'm a member of this subcommittee. Chris, you want to go, and then the folks in the room there?
Chris Darcy, Commissioner.
And then I'm Chris Snyder, the staff liaison for the SPAC board or committee.
Aaron Kimsey, City of Salem project manager.
And Ricardo Besserell with Compass Project Solutions, the owner's rep on the Civic Center project.
Great. Okay, first order of business is public comment. Do we have any public comment at this meeting?
So.
Okay, approval of consent agenda. I move to approve this agenda. We have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Chris and I?
Aye.
Since we've moved it and seconded it, it's approved. Okay, discussion item, Civic Center Art RFQ. I'm gonna hand it over to you, Aaron, for this.
Sure.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, so while we pull up the document, I just like to highlight, I think we're really close. My hope is that we can resolve any of the outstanding comments that we might have on this document so that we can finalize it and formalize it for advertising next Tuesday. I've shared this with our purchasing group, and they have no issues with meeting that timeline, as long as we're able to get it to them, really hopefully today or tomorrow, we can finalize it. We do have outstanding comments or questions, concerns. We can see about trying to address those over the next few days.
How do you want to start, Aaron? I've got one that might be sort of foundational.
Okay.
Might be good to start with. And
sure.
I've got my thing in front of me. So on page 4, under art design guidelines, I think there's a paragraph break that's missing between kind of talking about the overall design and then going into the art locations. The point that I wanted to make is that I think that the description of those two art locations needs to be fleshed out more.
Top right, top left.
Yeah, it must be in the bottom of section 1, but it is on page 4 of our document that we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we would get better proposals if we were a bit more intentional about the goals, and I would be happy to help flesh that out quickly. I don't think it would take long. The other thing that I had raised as a question, right above the start of section 2, is that the provision for the artist to be responsible for lighting. And I had asked the question, is there any option to change this provision? And here's my question, or with more detail. Let's say we have a selected artist. Let's say that the contractor is still working and the electrical has not been completed. Would there be any option for the artist to share the lighting that he or she would like to spec, so that could actually be added to the scope of work for whoever's doing the electrical contracting? We don't need
Well-
to answer all these at once, or depending on how you
Yeah.
want to proceed with things.
Yeah, can you close that close that over there? Yeah, just so we can see more of the document in the comments. So we can't see the comments. Can you, let's tackle the first one you had. We didn't quite have the document pulled up while you were going over it. So if you could recap what the concern was.
Okay,
Page 4.
so I am reading the document that was sent out with the committee, with the subcommittee agenda. It looks like this document that you have on the screen is the previous document, which I know I had my questions tracked. However, the tracking is not in the document that, let me get my thing pulled up here. So, yeah, okay. So, let's go back to the original point I made, which is I do think that the actual description of the two sites needs to be called out, maybe just by a space, but I think the language needs to be embellished so that it is clearer. Anyway, if I were someone reading this, would be kind of like, okay, and what else? Maybe others think it's fine, but I could suggest some language, not off the top of my head, but certainly today. And then
So are you looking at the bullet point art location 1 and art location 2?
yes,
So you want to have, are you suggesting a little more description there?
yes,
Okay.
There could be some adjectives in there possibly. I mean, also you've got the fact that they're vertical concrete walls, that they're very tall, vertical. I mean, you have the, 8 foot by 30 foot, but there could be some more descriptive language. Is that what you're talking about, Chris?
yeah,
I-
yeah.
I could
Yeah.
also, these locations are identified in the figures that are on the next sheet. I could put in some. Can I actually edit this document as we?
Right. But also, if we talk about doing sort of a shortened document, with all just the sort of the major points, that could be helpful to have in that too, as sort of a shorter, more colorful version of what these sites are about.
Yeah, but I think that we should recognize that this document, this is your base document.
Right.
And so if it
Absolutely.
appears anywhere, it has to appear here because this is
Sure.
going to be the city's working piece for this.
Right.
Maybe after the art location 1,
Mhm.
indicating that where those figures are actually shown on page.
Right. I also think that
Okay.
pointing out that this atrium is the largest public space in this piece of brutalist architecture.
Mhm.
So the art, we touch on it, above that it's going to add visual interest, but these works of art have the potential to be seen by the most people, who form our community. Some things like that. Like this is one of the grandest interior exterior spaces in the city of Salem. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. I mean, the idea is that with this seismic retrofit, we'd hope that more people will gather in this civic center, in this city hall in different ways and at different times of the year. Anyway, I don't, I know we have an hour and we want to get through this whole thing, but it just seemed to me that strengthening this language a bit at the start would just give it more clarity.
Mhm.
And then what about the question about, the lighting? Is there any room for leaving that window open? I can't remember what happened in the library, whether the contractor was able to assist, in facilitating the lighting that was needed, or maybe it wasn't. I just don't recall.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering as well. That project had a little more money, and I think if it was funded by the project, it might have been late in the project with some unrealized contingencies that we may have had. I think that the truth on this project is we're strapped, like we're actually spending more money than we have at this point. And so I think in order to be transparent, I think we need to leave that on the artist.
Okay.
And so if they have a piece of art that's going to require some special lighting that's incorporated, I think they need to plan on including that with their overall cost. Now, we might be able to, we've got electricians on site, and so there's the potential that we could take advantage of those contractors that are there. But I don't think at this point it would be a project cost.
I agree, and to your point about sort of sharing resources, both on the, I can't speak to the library because I wasn't on that, but on the Public Works Operations Building and on the police station project, that was what ended up happening with the artist. So it was, the cost was kept separate, but there were some either minor structural concrete pouring issues or electrical issues where we engaged the contractors that were already on site, but they were technically working for the artist at that point in time. It just made sense to marry those entities together. But that was really at the request of the artist.
Okay, I get it completely on, cash limitations for this project. I do think that, and I understand that there has been good cooperation in the past. I have no reason to think that couldn't occur, moving forward. I just wanted to just raise it. It's a lot easier when your crew that's on site knows the building, can actually just be helpful to make, our shared end result happen.
Yeah. Similarly, I remember on the library project, one of the criteria is, if it's hanging art or mounted art on a wall, that has to be structurally engineered and designed. And so I remember, that artist was like, I don't know if I know any civil engineers or structural engineers. And so we were able to ask KPFF, which is the structural engineer on this project as well, say, hey, would you mind working with the artist to provide a design based on, whatever parameters the artist had as far as weight and attachments and things. And so she was able to work with them to get that design. So I would think that something similar could happen here in this case as well.
Great. Well, I just wanted to, now's the time to raise the question. So I did.
Okay. Okay.
I think we lost the
yeah. Can you pull that back up?
Screen sharing. And is what we're seeing was the marked up version with all of our comments, but I think the version that we got in the agenda was already amended. Is that right?
Yes, I think so.
So do you want us, Erin, to be looking at the one with the comments, or maybe side by side with what you've changed? Because you have incorporated a lot of the things that we did address.
Yeah, I think if you guys have the older version, I should send you this new version.
Yeah, I think it's in the agenda. We have it in the agenda. And I think I have the older version with the comments, at least with my comments up on my screen. So I think maybe we should be looking at the amended version. That's
what I'm looking at, because that's what was sent out.
Yeah, what you're seeing on screen is an older version. So
well, this is my latest version that I have.
I think if I could, I think what I'm hearing them say is that the version that they're looking at is not the version that's tracking the comments. It's with the comments turned off and cleaned up. So like if
No,
you
it's the
close,
vice versa. I'm seeing the one that you're sharing with all the comments, but the one that was sent out, if I'm correct, the one that was sent out in the agenda looks like you had, when I read through, it looked like you had already incorporated some of these comments in
I
there.
think I
Yes.
believe that's correct.
So, I mean, I think it's important to see what the comments were and also to see how Aaron has done the work of incorporating them.
that would be the version you're sharing then.
Yeah, that's the version that I have here. So we can go through some of the comments. Unfortunately, I probably deleted because I felt like I addressed them. But I think we can go through and make sure that I addressed them adequately.
Okay,
And
so
maybe because I'm
Hmm.
only working on a laptop here and I only have one screen. If we could just go through this, I guess, and identify what some of the bigger issues are and then make sure that they're addressed. Because I have been working off the version of this that was sent out with the agenda for the meeting.
Okay.
which is different. That's different than what we're seeing.
Yeah,
That's
I'm sure
different
it
than
is.
what is on the screen, but I'm assuming
Yeah.
everybody was sent the same thing I got.
I've been making changes as late as 9 o'clock this morning. So
Okay.
the version that we're sharing is different than what you guys have.
Okay, so we should just ignore the one that that went out with the agenda, or just okay.
Yeah, yeah. So if you
back to-
because this doesn't have any other comments or anything.
Right.
Okay.
Let's go to the Word document. And then can you pull the
Okay. So
pull it down, pull the whole document down? Does this computer have Word on it?
I think it
Like a
has
desktop?
updated. It has Word. I think it has update.
I'm trying to figure out how you can edit comments while
Yeah.
they're viewing it. What if before you started sharing it, what if you took it out of reviewing mode and into edit mode and then started sharing it? Would that make any difference? Now, can you edit it? No.
Can you go to review on the tab, on the ribbon?
On the ribbon.
Over here. On the up top. Right there.
Product is protected.
Why is it protected? I just saved it from my computer to the thumb drive. This is annoying.
There's no access to anything.
Yeah, it's not letting us do it.
Can you save the document again? Back to the thumb drive, but as an unprotected file and under a different file name.
What if you right click on go to the Explorer folder? No, the file Explorer. Yeah. And then right click. Try that again. Should pull up properties. There we go. Go down to properties. Let's do this. Let's save, cancel that. And then can you
Right click and save as a different file?
yeah, so yes, maybe you can save it from here to the desktop.
Save
Okay. Yeah, click edit. Sorry, y'all, we're trying to figure out how I can edit this document in real time. Okay.
You want to share this version and then you'll just edit it on your
Yeah.
laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and open up the. Okay, are we still sharing?
No,
No, not on my screen. I'm
No,
not
I
seeing a
don't see that.
document.
just a second.
Okay, and then go to the top. Let's start from the top and work our way down.
Okay,
So what we decided is Aaron's gonna edit. You won't be able to see his edits because he's making it on his laptop. So you won't be able to see them because it's not
Okay.
working.
okay, and I have both documents, I have two screens, so I have the older document and the one that was sent with the agenda. I don't know if that helps, but I can
Okay.
see them side by side.
Go to page 2.
I'm only looking at the last thing that was sent out.
Okay, so in this first paragraph, there was previously some language about art or artist preference from the Pacific Northwest. I had to pull all of that out. I talked to our purchasing and legal staff, and they said we can't give you any preference to local artists or certain states. So that's been removed from the document.
That's great. That
No,
answers
Okay.
that.
So that
Okay.
simplifies that.
There was just one thing, can we add all media will be considered after you say this is an opportunity to provide either two-dimensional or three-dimensional artwork?
Yes, I have that in a later point, but I can include it here as well.
Okay,
Okay.
just a response to that. We're not interested in all media. We're not interested in work on paper. We're not interested in fiber. The conditions of this site do not allow for those types of work. So I don't think that we should say that we're interested in all media.
Well, how about all appropriate media? Because there are other, I mean, there is fiber work that could be synthetic, that could work. There, work on vinyl, and there's a lot of different types of materials out there that could be used. Two-dimensional and three-dimensional to me just sounds too restrictive, but
I mean,
do you think it will be getting, I mean, I think if somebody really looks at the site and and we do mention hopefully somewhere that it will be exposed to the elements in a certain way. I just wouldn't want to rule out anyone who had any kind of a unique type of media that we might not even think about.
so I guess the real question is, are we okay with one-dimensional art? That's the only thing that we're precluding at this point in this document so far.
Oh, yeah, actually,
I mean, we don't
right.
really. I don't think we should specify or say certain types of media. We leave that up to the artist to propose on, and then as the committee can decide, yeah, that works or doesn't work. So at this point, we've kind of ruling out one-dimensional, which I guess would be like a mural of some type.
Well, would a mural on vinyl be considered two-dimensional or
Yes, it
one-dimensional?
would.
Yeah, I guess
It
it would
has
be,
height
yeah.
and
Okay. So I guess two-dimensional. Yeah. So we're not, I guess, I'm not opposed to a mural. I just don't know whether it's with the historic, designation, whether that's allowed on the Civic Center. And that's in that spot, is it?
So one thing that needs to happen following this meeting is to just have, Aaron, probably you should have a conversation with Kimberly Fitzgerald
Mhm.
and just say, this is where we are in terms of the art RFQ. And, you know, if you see any red flags here,
Yeah.
you need to raise your hand right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't
And
think a mural.
she's, you know,
yeah.
she'll
Yeah.
be, hopefully she'll say, fine. I kind of thought that we had moved away from the idea of a mural painted on the concrete. First of all, we eliminated one of those areas, but then I thought just had discussed for the wall space in the atrium, something that would have color and possibly texture, but would not be painted on that concrete structure. That should be also
Yeah,
helpful for Kimberly.
Yeah, I don't remember ruling that out, Chris.
Ruling out a mural.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we may,
What would be your reasoning for not having that?
respecting the integrity of a property that's on the National Register in
Well,
a
that would be
prominent
the
space,
question,
the
right?
atrium.
Right.
I
Um,
could see something hung on the wall,
right.
not necessarily painted on the wall.
Okay.
I mean, I just think Kimberly she is a solid professional and
Yeah.
she'd be able to offer an opinion that's probably pretty right on.
That was my assumption that would not be allowed by them, by the Historic Preservation Committee.
Aaron, to your point about the technicality of one-dimensional versus two versus three, one dimension is, according to Google, is a line having no length, but no width or height.
Okay.
So I don't know if there is.
So all art is two-dimensional.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think everything is either 2D
Right.
or 3D.
Right.
So it's 4D that we got to worry about.
5 dimensions, 6 dimensional.
Okay.
We can
I'm
move on,
afraid
I
we're
guess.
not gonna get through this if we
Yeah. Let's keep moving on.
dissect this further.
Yeah.
Okay, I will leave this as is for now. And then if there are any, I mean, we can continue to make edits to this. I was just hoping to get through any of the major issues that might be at stake, but I think what we have so far is fine.
So we're ready to move past that page, is what you're saying?
Yes, I don't have any further comments noted on page 1 and 2, so we can go to page 3 unless you guys have other questions.
No, that's good. Um,
Okay, so
I mean, I'm assuming this background on the project is standard city language that was developed for the overall building project. You know, they could be fleshed out a little bit. I do think just flipping to page 4, the
Mhm.
the art design goals for the overall campus, you know, is it for the building or the campus? And then I don't remember drafting these goals, but I think they're fine. I do think that they could be just the language could be fleshed out slightly.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like enrich the surrounding community and built environment. You know, like what is the surrounding community? This thing is a campus. You know, is it to, you know, to add vitality to downtown, to the overall campus and the surrounding neighborhood? You know, is the next one, you know, creating space and visual interest that promotes social connection, interaction, and promotion. And then I wondered, just, is this thing serve as a welcoming icon? Does this mean that this work of art is going to be on a sign, or just eliminate that? So I don't want to necessarily wordsmith this at this meeting, but I'm just suggesting that some of this language could just be smoothed out a bit.
Mhm.
That would make more sense, you know, and like the neighborhood association could say, wow, we're going to have this cool thing in our neighborhood. Same with the art design guidelines, as I mentioned earlier. I just think this could be, the language could just be, they just really just smoothed out. And then I would leave visual space between the art location descriptions so that you see, you're not reading the guidelines. It's like, whoa, here's the description of the sites. Take note.
Chris, you're really good at wordsmithing this. I mean, I have your draft vision statement that you had submitted back in December, and it's just very clear. And I know that Aaron, incorporated some of that language, but I don't know. I know there's a time constraint here, but I would really trust it if you would, if you had the time to kind of, do the same thing with the language in terms of the clarity and the vision that you did in that draft vision statement.
Yeah, I can do that quickly. I do understand the time constraints, and I think it's really important to get this moving. I do think we would get better results, and we would have some more talking points for all of us to use as people will ask questions about what's going on. So it's like, yeah, we wanted something to really be a focal point in this part of Salem. Remember, this is on the National Register. It's important. We're 50 years later. This is the time for this important update. I'm not talking about anything encyclopedic. I just think we have an opportunity, because this is going to be a public document, and how people in Salem like to read into these things, to just be in plain language, clear. We want something to be proud of. Here's the thinking that's behind it. It's part of a thinking, the overall thinking about, our city hall and what that stands for. Because I have been to the Peace Plaza meetings, and the rationale behind all this is it's clear, it's easy to understand.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse, but you know how I feel about this document being so bureaucratic, and I think some language that's clear and concise about our goals and what kind of art we're looking for, about the building, the importance of the building, the way that the art is gonna interact with the building. I think to state that as clearly as possible will really help tremendously in artists approaching this. So thanks, Chris. I really look forward to you kind of putting your clear take on it. Are you okay with that, Aaron?
Are you thinking about extracting just a piece of this document and sending it off to Chris to update?
Yeah, so I don't have an issue with you massaging the language. I'll be honest, I don't really remember where I got these bullets as well for the art design goals. It might have been a quick pass through AI after I gave it some criteria to think about.
Okay.
To be honest, but I think what I was trying to get at was, in a surrounding community. It could be the campus, it could be the community that's more adjacent to the civic center. So we could flesh that out a little bit. And built environment, I was thinking along those lines of, we have the this concrete, very, very concrete, rigid structure, which is that's the built environment that this art piece would sit in. So how could the piece enrich that space is kind of what I was thinking there. And then serving as a welcoming icon, my thought process there was, as you enter into the civic space, it's going to be one of the first things you see as you walk up from the parking garage. And so it's something that, welcomes folks, whether it's, I don't know what that looks like from an art context, but, we don't want, we want something that's pleasing to look at, I guess. So that's very subjective.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was kind of how I think I got there. But I'm totally fine if we want to reword it or wordsmith it in that regard.
Okay.
Just one thing that was confusing for me, I think I noted it, that the project vision statement that starts on page 3, I wasn't sure, that doesn't sound like the art vision statement. It sounds like the overall civic center improvement vision
Yes.
statement. I think we should be clear about that, because these people are looking at, okay, the project is this art project. So, and that, I don't think that that statement is the vision statement for the art project.
So I can
Um,
add civic project vision statement, civic project principles.
Well,
Yes.
Construction project.
civic center construction project, because it could, I mean, this is still called the civic center art project. So I think as specific as you can be to say, okay, this is about the overall, renovation project. And those are the principles of that project, not the art project. And then we go on to clarify what the goals are for the art project in the vision, which that's the part that that I think Chris can really massage.
I think it'd helpful to just call out that distinction. I mean, I think it's great that the vision and the project principles for this overall project are written and they're clear. And I think it's just, you're talking about a big picture here, not the art.
Right.
But they are, I'm sure that language is being used regularly as this project is being discussed.
Correct.
Yeah. We don't want to, no need to change any of that.
Yeah, no need to change. Just identify it as, I'm thinking just as clear and simple, without any, muddying the waters for people, as
Okay.
we can do. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll say civic construction project for
Okay.
those three, for the vision statement, for the project principles, and for the renovation goals.
Great.
And then we go into art design goals. And then you can enhance those.
Okay.
And I'll send you, after this, I'll send you this latest document, so you have
Perfect.
the most
Thank you.
recent.
There was one comment that I had made about the, looking on page 4. You had questioned about the standards for the, what is it? Let's see. City of Salem standards for safety, security, durability, and vandal resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said you're not sure these standards are and where they might be referenced. And you saw it in a previous RFP. And I said it would probably be difficult to meet, total vandal resistance. So I don't know. Did you clarify that?
Yeah, so scroll down a little bit, Chris. Or actually, no, it's the second to last bullet. Rather than say, previously it said art must follow design, City of Salem design standards. And I was like, well, I don't think we have that for art. So I just said art must be designed with safety, security, durability, and vandal resistance
Oh, I see.
in
Okay,
mind.
that's right.
So
that's
at least
the
gets
new.
them thinking about how the art interacts in the public, and that it's outside. And so, I think it just puts them on notice that whatever they do needs to be, sturdy and work in that kind of environment.
I think that's a good improvement. I was looking at the older document. Now I see it in the new one. Okay, good change there.
Going up a few bullets to the art location number 1, Chris, it looked like, I think this is you.
That's a mistake. Just disregard that.
Okay.
I was probably doing this late at night.
No worries. I'll delete that.
Right.
But back to this. So I can certainly add in here art location 1, and then I can say as shown in the document on pages 5 through 7, where we actually have pictures that show what the art locations look like.
Yeah.
Is that
That's a
adequate
good
enough,
idea.
or do you do you want to continue to add more powerful, colorful language in this space as well?
Yeah, just very briefly, but just yeah, I just probably reinforcing the fact that it's a large space, can be seen from various levels. Just a few comments like,
Right.
not a paragraph, but just, just helping people appreciate that this is a big, big space. And, it's not, I know you've got, 30-foot concrete walls at the elevator core, but, reinforcing that this is the largest sort of interior exterior space in the city. Yeah, I'm not a paragraph, I'm not talking about adding paragraphs, but just helping people appreciate the uniqueness.
And there are reasons why we selected these two locations as the best locations for what we're looking for. So I think that can be hinted at because, like being seen from various, venues, and that it's, the main area, the atrium, and Chris, I think you know exactly what to put there that will enhance that.
I'll add a bullet with a little bit more description of the atrium locations in general, and then
Great.
Chris, when I share that, I'll send it to you as well, Susan. But when you can take a look at what I added, and if you want to modify, you can.
Okay. And then this site can also include the wall. Are we taking that out, or are we leaving that?
We're taking that out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what you were talking about at the beginning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say something about the verticality of it too, because it's, that's just, it really kind of enhances the entire scale of that building.
Okay. I think we can go on. Go ahead and scroll down. Or Joe, do you have any other questions on this before we do move on?
Okay.
No, but just clarifying that we already spoke about the electrical stuff, so that should come out.
Yeah, I'll take that out.
Okay.
So then here we just say the price, and then we give them the schedule, and then we show the locations visually.
I didn't see where we were mentioning that we were going to be paying for, what the various stages of this, and that we are going to be paying for proposals, is that something that we are doing?
Yes, that's further in the
later.
That's later in the document.
So you don't think that should be included in
Not at this point. I think it's
Okay.
explained later.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and keep scrolling. So there was a question here on this one. Susan, you mentioned we didn't intend to include the horizontal elements. I can ask the designer to remove that. I thought that there could be an artist that wants to like have a piece that bridges the that space, and so I just wanted to let them know that that's technically would be available to them for art if they wanted to somehow connect. But if you guys disagree, we can remove that and just leave it to the vertical columns.
Personally, I would like to leave it to the vertical columns. I know Carl said he didn't really mind it, but I guess I'm fixated on the verticality of it. And I think those crossbars make it look more like a ladder than these two kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm taking the World Trade Center too much too, but just these two vertical columns to me, leading up to the atrium, from the floor to the atrium, seemed very powerful to me.
I agree. To me, when I saw the rendering, it made me, it just reminded me of a letter H. I'm not sure we
Yeah.
want to have that association.
Right.
And I just agree that focusing on the vertical elements just accentuates the verticality of the space and could be, think about viewing it from the council chambers across the atrium, two kind of upward moving, pieces of art. I mean, would be just powerful visually.
Okay. We can do that.
Okay, great.
And
Thanks.
the next,
Thanks.
we'll do the same on the next, on the rendering.
Right.
We'll move that as well, no big deal.
Is there a reason why it doesn't extend all the way down to the floor?
Yeah, this is something that, that's for safety essentially. I don't know what the art's gonna look like, but we didn't want something that could be hanging where someone could reach up or jump and grab it or hang on it. So I think we listed the dimensions. Here, I can't zoom in and read it. 7 feet is the clearance below. So it looks higher than 7 feet on the rendering, to be honest, but
Yeah.
it probably isn't.
Yeah,
I question whether 7 is even tall enough, but
I'm 6 foot.
that's what we did at the library as well. We didn't want it to go all the way down.
So that's
Just, I have-
absolutely necessary. I mean, can we then, like, once we get the proposals, we can
Well,
see what.
again, I would be not knowing what the art media is. If it's lower than 7, then there's a lot of opportunity for people to put their hands on it. And I just don't know if we want hands-on art. So
Yeah.
I'm just totally bringing it up from that perspective. So for me, it's maintaining the art's integrity over the duration of us owning it. Safety, if there's opportunities for people to hang, any of those kind of concerns.
I have a
Or
question.
climb, yeah.
Just, I'm thinking about the space. So this atrium is not secured at night, is it?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think so. So if you were over at the CB2 office and you cross the street, you could just walk into the atrium at 10 o'clock at night.
correct.
Mhm.
Okay,
Or 2 a.m. or
yeah, right, okay.
So you could conceptually, climb on any kind of a sculpture as well. I mean, it's,
Yep.
or play around in those beds, or the pond or whatever.
Does anyone
I
ever
don't-
go in there? I'm sure
Yes.
you've got cameras. People do go in?
Yeah. We have, well, I mean, there's people go in, unfortunately, there's active vandalism. It's not uncommon for us to show up with broken windows or glass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a lot more ever since police moved out on the first floor, they had a pretty much 24-hour presence.
Uh-huh.
Without them being there is a lot more activity in the overtime night hours.
I just thought of that today, just now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
Anyway,
people can sleep there.
I mean, in a perfect world,
Facilities
I think the
custodians.
art would extend to that base level of the atrium, but I can understand the not having something that anybody can hang on or spray on or, just,
Yeah, I understand it. I think it's, kind of unfortunate that we have to do that, because just those whole complete columns that extend up to the, almost up to the atrium and down to the floor are pretty powerful. And it kind of truncates that feeling. Again, let's put it this way. And if someone submits something that we see that might somehow work without being unsafe, we could consider it. But
Yeah. I mean, these are really tall columns, so I think not having 7 feet at the bottom, there's still a lot of opportunity to make a pretty big impression with the art.
yeah, I can live with that.
okay, yeah, me too.
Okay, so I'll update those renderings so they don't show the horizontal piece. Okay, then we get into the like nuts and bolts of the submittal requirements and how we're going to be going through the process. I don't think we have any, unless your document shows something differently. I didn't have any comments in here until we get down to like section 3.2.
Okay, hold on just a second.
The only thing that I object to is upfront saying, don't do it wrong. You know, they must organize and present their materials. I mean, that's important to know, but does that need to be the first thing that they see as the requirements for submitting the proposals?
I think it's better to be clear, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, some of these projects will generate a large number of proposals. If the material is not organized uniformly,
Yeah.
it's really a pain in the neck to review them and compare them. And
Yeah.
I think it's just better to just like, don't defer from this format, people.
Yeah, this
Period.
is, yeah, Christian kind of nailing it on the head. This really is a template document. This RFQ, RFP is something that we modify, you know, to specific projects, of course, but really the process and how we accept proposals is pretty, I mean, we've been doing this a long time, and we get on some of our projects, we get 40. Yeah, 40 or more proposals. And so we really have to make sure that what we're getting is consistent. Because at the end of the day, we have to defend our decision. And if we select somebody that didn't follow the rules, and unfortunately that's what they are, then we have to be able to say why or why not, or if we reject somebody, we have to say why or why not. And so this just makes it very clear, everyone's on the same page, and allows for a consistent review.
Understood. I respect your experience in this.
Under the art A, this wasn't a comment, but I'm kind of bringing it up. Since we are no longer giving preference to the Pacific Northwest, AD, where are we on that? Can you go to 3.1? Go back up. Yeah. I think we need to delete D, because unless you guys want someone from the East Coast to describe why they have a connection to the Pacific Northwest.
That's interesting.
So it's actually E, right? Oh, okay.
On my document, I already deleted something.
Deleted it. Okay, got it. Let me just look at that.
I've seen other jurisdictions with a similar description of cities.
Could you repeat that, Chris?
Well, I was just saying that in some of my research I've just done recently, I've seen other proposals that illustrate, you know, specific states that they allow artists to compete for.
Yeah, there's the Pacific Northwest actually is it's one of the strongest public art regions in the country, because some of these local and statewide ordinances were passed very early on, you know, like starting in the 1970s and 80s. And so there is, you know, there are Seattle artists who might work in Portland or Boise or, you know, Missoula. And, you know, there's a certain loyalty that we have, you know, to our fellow jurisdictions here in the region.
Yeah. I was looking at Coeur d'Alene's art commissions. So that was where I saw that.
Yep. That would be another, yep.
What if you replaced, Aaron? I mean, we might be threading a needle here, but what if you replace the word "your" with describe any connections to the Pacific Northwest region? So you're not really saying it's a requirement, like you either have it or you don't, but you're just saying, hey, go and include it in here if you have some strong connection to the Pacific Northwest region.
I think that I like that alternative, Ricardo.
You have to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. You know, it could be like, I did a sculpture in Boise. I did a sculpture in Bend, you know, even though, you know, might live in Denver.
Okay. So I'll leave it in. I'll add any and we're good.
Okay.
You know,
Um,
I don't think we had it. We definitely did not have a regional preference for the police station, but I do remember in our review of the final 10 or so finalist proposals, you know, there was well, Blessing Hancock, she lived in the region, but her fabricator was in Indiana. And then there was another finalist from Texas, I think. You know, I mean, it's, you know, someone could say I was born and raised in Oregon, or I was born in Seattle. I've lived in Oregon since I was in 5th grade. You know, sometimes they're interesting, sometimes it's not that, you know, important.
So what is the
I think
language?
that word change is fine.
What, could you just repeat that language change?
So I'm going to say describe any connections to the Pacific Northwest region.
Okay,
Oregon, Washington, Idaho, California. Okay,
sounds good.
Okay. All right. The next comment that I have is 3.2 interview. I think, Chris, you said maybe it'd be great to have someone from Salem leadership, city manager, mayor, represented in the selection. I don't know. I was going to ask if any of those staff members have the capacity to or interest to be on this. They don't have to be a scoring member, so we need to keep the members, the scoring members, to what do we have here? I think I have 3 SPAC. I think it's 5. So we can have for example, Hacker, the designer, they want to be involved, but they aren't going to be necessarily be scoring the proposal. So
Oh, really?
to keep, yeah, I think so. I'll have to double check on that, what we did for the library, but
They definitely scored for the
did they
library.
score?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were a scorer.
Okay.
And I'm pretty
So
sure
glad.
that CB2 voted on the police.
Okay.
But I know that Laura from Hacker was the scorer for the library.
Okay.
And
So
and that was a very good voice to have.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they want to be
You
involved.
know, that was a highly informed scorer. So I would hope that that they would do that.
Okay, so I have design team representative, that'd be Hacker, public works representative, that'd be me, and then 3 members of SPAC. So that's 5 proposal evaluators that are actually scoring. And then I say additional advisors to the selection committee may include the construction team representative, other city of Salem project team representatives, and other Salem public art commissioners. So we can have others in the room, but they wouldn't be scoring. They would be, providing an opinion, offering some words, but not necessarily. So they could influence the scoring members, but there would really only be 5 that are scoring. And that's just to keep it. That's kind of our standard max or a number of people that score projects.
I would include, whether it's scoring or non-scoring, is somebody who works in that building and who's going to see it every day. I mean, there's been public art projects that were put up by people who had nothing to do with working in the environment where the piece was, and there can be some dissent. I mean, you don't want people that are going to be working there say, "Oh God, I hate that thing."
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have anybody who works in that building.
Yeah, Susan, I get that. Although, again, I'm gonna ask if there's any interest and capacity to have someone be a part of it. If I worked in that building, I would be like, oh, that'd be fun, but I wouldn't want to be speaking on behalf of everybody in Civic. And art, I mean, there's people that love it and hate it. So this person, whoever they are, maybe it's Courtney, she loves the art that we end up with. And then we move in, art's there, and there's a contingency of people that are like, oh my gosh, that is the worst looking piece of art I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Courtney, what did you do? Why did you pick that? And so there's always going to be, I've been in the public long enough to know that there's going to always be some dissenters. And so I certainly, it's okay to have another person, someone who's working there, but just on this project alone, there's so much staff and there's so many differences of opinions. It's really, really difficult to please everyone.
Mhm.
So that's my soapbox.
Well, it would be good to be able to say a representative from the workers in the building was involved in some
Sure.
way.
Yeah.
Just to say, well, they were involved. We wouldn't want to keep them out of the process completely.
Right. So
Yeah,
I'll check.
The thing that's really great about being part of a process like this is that you really do learn what is out there in terms of public art. And I remember just with the police station, when we first started talking about the art, it was kind of like, well, we had the police and then we had the arts people. And then we started talking and sharing ideas. And they did an open house for the building and people came and all kinds of people showed up. And we had some idea boards. And then in the review of the proposals, which they're very sophisticated now in terms of what the artists present, everybody was on the same train and learned about, oh, here we're at the first stop, but now we're at the second stop. And it was really productive. I get the fact that the city manager and mayor's office, it's very leanly staffed now. You've lost, leadership positions. And, in a perfect world, you'd have one of those people involved. Courtney, I mean, I think she should be invited. I get it that no one has any extra time, but at
Mhm.
least they could just decline an invitation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that sounds good. We can take a look at that.
Okay.
Chris is moving us along. I don't think we have any other comments until we get down to 4.1C. I added a sentence that may or may not may want to be deleted or modified. Three-dimensional art will be prioritized through all forms of art, though all forms of art will be considered. So this is an old ad from a previous comment, which was we're going to include all forms. So based on our earlier conversation, I'm wondering how we want to modify this sentence.
Okay, this is 4.2. Are we in images of past work?
No, 4.1C.
Okay, got it.
Let's see. I don't think you need to say three-dimensional art will be prioritized. We haven't really discussed that.
Well, and this is past work, so maybe it's just deleted altogether and we just say, and just leave it at that. Work proposals will evaluate on the compatibility of past work. Work demonstrates whether the work of art enriches the architectural, historical, geographical, social, cultural context. Compatibility includes consideration of media as well as integration of the work into the design or function of the public improvement.
Didn't we decide that in the beginning we were going to say all forms of art appropriate to the site and environment will be considered, something like that?
Okay, this is how images of past work. This is not this is not something looking forward. This is looking back.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
I would delete, I would keep the first part, beginning with the word compatibility. I would delete the rest of that section.
Oh, even the compatibility sentence?
Right, because basically proposals will be evaluated on the compatibility of past work that demonstrates whether the work of art enriches the architectural, historical, geographical, and socio-cultural context of the site, period.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. If it's
Period.
just
Just delete the
I think
rest of
that's
it.
what confused me. I didn't realize we're talking about this is work that they've already done before to show us that they have worked in a similar way on a site. So,
And in fact, it's possible that C and D in this section could be combined.
Yeah,
So it would be images and descriptions of past work. And then just meld these two together, you know.
Mhm.
although it's two separate
Well,
tasks, really, to get the
D-
images together and then to write a description are two separate tasks. So maybe we leave them separate. At first I thought it would be good, but I think it's basically, okay, I have to do this, I have to get the images together, and then I have to write a description.
I'll leave that up to the city people. Yeah, basically you're submitting images and then you're submitting what
Right.
used to be called a slide list. So,
Right. So
it's
this
not a
is really
big,
a process thing. They have to do the statement, they have to do the resume, they have to do images, and then they have to correlate a description
it's a
of it.
description of the images.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right, let's,
There was a comment on
4.2.
4.2E, diversity. So we are gonna, well, one question is, so Chris, I think you suggested deleting this entire section, section. Certainly we want to delete the last sentence that says all things being equal, reference to argument artists will be given. So that's going away for sure. Yeah, so you said, how is this going to be assessed? What are your thoughts? Do we want to delete it, leave it in?
I would delete it.
I would delete it too. It's also such a hotbed word these days that can be misconstrued in a lot of ways.
Well, plus I think your top, the artistic quality and whether the work of art is compatible with the site, whether it can be maintained, those are your top things. And then feasibility, the ability of the artist to actually execute.
Right.
I also wonder about G, duplication, whether the work of art is unique, and if not, the size of the edition. I mean, we're not, I guess someone could submit a sculpture that would be, maybe they make 3 of them. That doesn't really happen very often on this scale.
Mhm.
Actually, it does, I think, Chris. I mean, the artwork that I've been involved with getting for other communities, I mean, we got a massive Tony Smith sculpture, and it was created from a small maquette, and there are an edition of 3 of them in the world. So, and there are artists, especially that work on a monumental scale like that. I don't think we should phase that, we
Okay, no
should.
problem.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not a
I
big
think
deal for me.
there are artists that work that way. I don't know if we're going to get somebody that works that way, but I don't think we should rule it out.
That'd be a real bummer. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, so I don't think I have any other comments until I get to way down in the document of the actual contract. We provided a sample contract.
Okay, can I just go? So in 4.2, number I, letter I, that is eliminated, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going between, okay. I'm marking up my hard copy so I know what I'm commenting on later.
Okay,
Sorry to interrupt you, Aaron.
that's fine. Do you guys have anything else? Again, the only other comment I have is from Chris, which is in the contract document.
And what was that?
Let's go there.
Oh, a maintenance plan?
No, it was regarding, there was some language that you didn't think was appropriate. So it's on page 29, 4.2. Here we go, it's in this document. So this is the actual contract that is signed by the artist. Again, this is boilerplate, but we can learn from our purchasing that we can modify this.
Oh,
If we wanted
yeah.
to. It's fairly fluid.
I,
I wasn't sure how you wanted to modify it.
well, this is the whole thing about, I don't know if you were at the meeting where, Mark Weinstein and I had a little, I said that the creation of these original works of art is not work made for hire. And he said, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, because the artistic direction is coming from the artist and it is not a work for hire where the city might say, okay, you, Jane Smith, you're going to paint a mural on the gym floor of McKay High School.
Mhm.
That will include a bear and a pine tree and a such and such. And so that made me think that probably made me flag this where, let's just say, let's go back to the Public Works Ops building where you had the artist proposed I think a doll sheep that would, of his design, and that the animal hide was going to be decorated with, let's just say, drawings of petroglyphs and various other things. The artist specified all that, and the city did not. I don't know, am I making any sense here? I don't know, it made me think that I should look into this whole work for hire issue, and which I haven't done. So it's not like, I'd love to see someone else's contract language if they raise this, but
Okay,
I
yeah, we
haven't
can
had
have a
time to
look at
deal
it.
with that.
We probably could pull up the contract for the PW Ops
Okay,
artist and see if this was modified.
great, great
I
idea.
doubt it was, because I think I took that document and made this document. So I'm pretty sure this is the exact language, or at least, let me back up. What we provided in the PW Ops proposal or call the RFQ is this language. What I don't know is if this language changed when the artist actually signed the contract.
I see.
So I'll see if I can find the actual contract and see if there was any modifications to 4.2 and 4.4.
Okay, that'd be great. It wasn't until Mark and I had a little conversation in a SPAC meeting that I had thought about it. And it just makes me think that I should see how other people refer to it. Because in a work for hire where, the city is buying something that they have specified, the content of, I can see where, yeah, they would want to control all that. But where they're not, and the provider it's his or her intellectual property, like they should hold on to that.
Mhm.
Anyway, we're having extended conversations about copyright, and
Yeah.
we're not, it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if by the time the artist actually gets to sign a contract, that the city will have, come up with their, final thoughts on this whole copyright issue and maybe codifying it. So,
Yeah.
because that's something that's sort of up in the air, but getting dealt with as we speak. So,
I think for the purposes of staying on time for getting this out, we can leave, because this is just a sample contract.
Yep.
So we can leave it in here,
Mhm.
especially if I find out that the previous contract didn't change either.
Yeah.
We can leave it in here and send it. And then when we get to actually, we've made a selection, we have an artist that we want to hire. They'll have an opportunity to look at this contract, and if they want to make modifications, we will probably be amenable to that at that time.
Okay, that sounds reasonable to me.
that's good.
All right, that's all I have.
Wow, boy, this was good. I'm glad we could get this meeting set.
Yeah. Yeah. And as far as that other, I had sent you a sampling of
Oh,
that simple
yeah.
document. Can we take a look at that? And I'm
Yeah, real
thinking that
quick, we
maybe
can-
Chris could be involved in kind of crafting that based on what she's going to be doing anyway?
So I put something together based
Okay.
on the sample you sent. It's pretty close to exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. See what Chris will share it here in a sec. It's just, I think the intent is to keep it simple.
Yeah.
It's a one pager that basically puts the artists on notice or gives them a better, kind of an invite. And then if they want to seek out the full proposal or the full request, then they can seek it out via there's some language at the bottom of this, which I just stole from the other project.
Mm-hmm.
Says contact Shauna Self. And if there's any questions, contact Shauna Self. Everything else is.
I wonder if it should have some more specifics to it, like the kind of thing that we talked about, massaging the language, about just to kind of make it have a little more information. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, even you could probably just add a couple sentences. I could just send you a couple suggestions.
Okay.
I'm not hoping, I am planning to get my additional language back to you by the end of the day, if not first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So if you want to just email this to me, I could add a couple of sentences to it.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, thank you for being willing to create that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it was not a problem. I didn't even know it existed. So I had a copy of the full RFQ from PW Ops, but this kind of single page document was out there. I didn't even know
Yeah,
it existed.
I don't remember where I got that. I got it quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Probably from Kathleen or something. But
this page is what we would want to send to wherever artists go to seek out work. And then because the city posts to Oregon Buys, and that goes out to certain publications, but your run-of-the-mill artist isn't gonna necessarily think about going to Oregon Buys probably. So that's where this is important to get out.
Also, some of these, thank you, Chris, for doing the list of the places where we can post this specifically for artists. I think they might require, an online description. So it wouldn't be just like a piece of paper. It would be actually using the language that's on here. You might have to actually fill that into an online form to submit. So we need to have that language as well. And also, just as far as Chris's list, I wouldn't rule out including some of the national spots. I know, like New York Foundation for the Arts, like I look at that, and I'm no longer in the New York area, but because it does post listings that are across the country. And there's some other ones I think that were on my original AI kind of gathering that were also from across the country. I wouldn't rule those national ones out.
Well, let's just figure out what the priorities are and who's going to be able to get all the work done in a timely manner. There are many jurisdictions, large and small, that have these listings, and you probably can't put everything everywhere, but figuring out what's most important. And I agree, some of them someone's going to have to take the language from whatever this PDF ends up being, and then plug the separate things in a link and what have you. And that's probably going to have to be done one at a time. So, like, how much time does Chris have? Can someone else do the work, et cetera? Just being realistic.
And if you need our my assistance in that, I'm available to do that as well. I don't know how it works in terms of staff needing to do things, but as a volunteer, I would be available to plug in that language to some applications.
So I have I have a question, kind of getting back to this. In the RFQ, there is a point of contact with the city. I think it's the person who does procurement, purchasing,
Yes.
and she will answer. She is on point for responding to questions. So making sure that she's briefed so that that can be done properly. I know when I worked with the state, when we would put out RFPs for whatever, there was a deadline date by which a question had to be asked, and then updated information sometimes was sent out to everyone who had received a copy of the RFQ.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
She knows all that.
she won't answer any questions. She'll kick them straight to me.
Okay.
So if there's a question about whatever, the interview or the submission process or art location or whatever the
Yep.
wants. So if it's a question that we feel like everybody needs to know the answer to, then we'll do a supplemental letter that'll get posted to Oregon Buys and attached to this RFQ.
Okay.
And if anyone's pulled it up, they'll automatically get that notice that there's a supplemental letter. If there's something super drastic that requires something more than a supplemental letter, I don't think we'd have that on this case because this is just an RFQ. Yeah, so we would just keep those questions coming, and then once we feel like, well, we have a deadline for questions, so we'll wait to submit a supplemental letter until we get that end date for questions.
Sounds good.
Would this also be in the like the city newsletter and on some of the social media sites?
Yeah, we could post it to those
Yeah,
areas.
then that allow us to also share it on our own social media posts and in terms of inviting certain artists or forwarding certain artists or entities, we can go ahead and do that as well.
Yeah, in fact, that PDF that we were looking at, I mean, if you personally know of artists or want to email them, that's certainly fine.
Great.
After it's been public.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
After
once
it's been
in the
posted.
final, after you'll let us know.
Yeah.
At what point and when everything's ready.
Okay. Well,
All
I
right.
will, I gotta run. I'll try to get this emailed to both of you. See if I can do it right now. So you can keep moving on it, and
Great.
then we'll go from there. I'm in the office tomorrow, so if you have questions, you can give me a call or email me.
Sounds great.
Great. Thanks a lot. This was
Thank
really
you.
productive. Yeah.
Nice to meet you,
Yeah.
Susan, and good to see you again, Chris.
Good to see you, Ricardo.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
One question I had on that single page sheet.